Each week we bring you stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to succeed in school and in sports.
Our Kevin Gale joins us now to tell us about a Willow Glen runner and his road to success.
Therese, Robert, long before Donald Plazola joined the Willow Glen cross country team, he was already running from abuse, running from hunger, running from neglect. Donald bounced from home to home, even sleeping in cars as he searched for steady family support, until he found his way to Willow Glen High, where a teacher taught Donald how to outrun his past by sprinting toward a bright future. Donald Plazola was born to run.
Very fluid, smooth stride, which is very rare. So he's just very efficient runner.
When I was little, I was really hyper. So I was lucky that Mr. Santa Maria caught me because I'd be somewhere else right now.
Get your lane assignments.
Donald is a CCS cross-country champion and top distance runner for the Willow Glen track team. But Donald didn't learn to run on a track. Early in life, Donald found himself running from a broken home.
When I was living with my parents, it wasn't really too good. There were a lot of drugs, alcohol, violence, and I got taken away from them. I had to go into a shelter home for a couple weeks actually.
Throughout childhood, Donald raced between the homes of extended family members, where he slept on couches or even in garages.
I was living in Bakersfield, Sacramento, Fresno. The most difficult was bouncing around, and I really didn't care about my parents at the time. I really didn't know them.
Eventually, Donald moved back in with his parents and enrolled as a freshman at Willow Glen High.
He wanted to live, but yet lacked direction. This kid was wild, but had an unstoppable joy for life.
At first, Donald cared little about his schoolwork, until one geography teacher took an interest in Donald and showed him a road to success.
In chatting with him and during class, he'd never been in sports, and from that point I just encouraged him to come out to run.
Donald channeled his fire and passion into running, and for the first time in his life, Donald felt proud of himself.
It turned out great. First race was so cool. We went to Toro Park, and I remember I was in the back of the car, didn't have time to stretch, didn't have time to go warm up, and I just ran out of the car and I raced my heart out, and I loved it. It was so cool.
But Donald still lacked focus away from the track. So during Donald's sophomore year, two friends of Coach Santa Maria stepped in and showed Donald the love he had been chasing for a lifetime.
The reality was no one was raising Donald. He needed a stable home. He needed a stabilizing factor. And it was then that my husband and I said, we have this home. We have a place where he can live. We're going to put that out there.
But they took me in and took me as one of their own, as one of their children. And I really enjoyed it. I really love it. And teaching me life skills, really important. And how to become an adult, someone responsible, trustworthy, and honest.
Today, Donald still lives with Debbie and her husband. He shares a bedroom with their two young children and lives just like a member of the family.
The unconditional love that he receives from Coach Santa Maria, from my husband and he does reach out, he does accept that.
But the Leal family chose not to legally adopt Donald so he can remain connected with his birth family.
It's kind of a love-hate relationship. I go there, I help them out, and we talk and stuff like that, and still see my sisters, my little baby sisters, and every time I walk in the house, they're like, Donnie, Donnie, so happy.
In June, Donald will become the first person in his family to graduate from high school.
I know what you slow down. I stopped.
Why?
I thought I was done, I don't know.
And major universities are recruiting Donald to run at the college level.
He ultimately had a dream of becoming someone great and an aspiration to live an incredible life.
I think it was mostly because of my faith in God, and not one day that goes by and I don't think about, I gotta train harder, I gotta relax, I gotta ice, I gotta, get my grades up. And so I'm always on that every day.
Donald is still working hard to raise his grades to the level of his elite running. He'll continue his journey at a local community college in the fall before graduating on to one of the many universities targeting his track talents. And I must say, out of all the stories I've done here at Cal High, this is easily the most inspirational. It almost plays like a Hollywood movie script.
It definitely sounds like the movie The Blind Side. It's very similar to Michael Orr's story, it sounds like.
And there are a lot of comparisons between the two, including the fact that now Donald has some big dreams of his own. He's looking toward the Olympics in 2020, he just said this week. So big goals, just like Mike Orr in the movie.
Well on his way. All right, coming up.